Welcome to We Are Venomaniacs, the Venom Site's official podcast for all of your symbiote news, reviews, and point of views. My name is Orion, and I'm joined by my fellow co-hosts, Carlos and Tyler.
Hey guys, what's up?
Howdy, howdy.
Today we're reviewing the comics of February 2020, including Venom number 23 and Scream, Curse of Carnage number 4. So we'll begin with Venom number 23, which is part 3 of Venom Island. After cutting off his own hand to escape Carnage, Eddie uses lightning to separate the captive Venom symbiote from Carnage. Meanwhile, Dylan discovers a way to utilize his piece of the Grendel symbiote and communicate with the Venom symbiote. When Eddie awakens from his electrifying attack, he finds himself being whisked away from Isla de Huesos by Captain America. The issue ends with a shocking cliffhanger as the island is swiped away by a nuclear blast, seemingly destroying the symbiote infestation, including the Venom symbiote, which is pretty much rendered redundant given recent previews for comics upcoming. We know
we
that
the news at C2E2.
Yeah.
Yep.
We know that Venom survives at least.
Yep.
And we're still not sure if Eddie's hand survives or not. Could be the symbiote, might not be. We don't know. But
yeah, it's up in the air. It's like, well, how much of a sacrifice was that really? Again, it was one of my points of contention in the last episode. It's like it's not really that huge of a sacrifice in terms of symbiote hosts.
I mean, yeah, we saw some breaking news, and from the panels that we've seen from the preview pages for Venom, for actually Free Comic Book Day and Venom number 26, apparently he might regrow it back from the symbiote, or maybe the Avengers provide him a synthetic hand. I don't know. Something's up. He'll get a replacement either way.
Yeah, Luke Skywalker, he is not.
No. But yeah, I must say, the issue was good. It was at some points it was suspenseful. Again, Mark Bagley's art is just phenomenal in this once again, and again, I'm just really curious how this story arc is going to end, and it's looking pretty interesting so far. So
yeah,
no, I think I like this issue a little bit more than the last issue. I really did enjoy this, and I will say the one part I wasn't the biggest fan of. I kind of sparked a bit of a conversation on Twitter about this. Just Eddie's. I'm not a huge fan of Eddie sort of just dumping his religion completely now. Like, it was never fully confirmed before. Like, he had been having doubts, like any Catholic. But yeah, I mean, in the opening pages of this book, we get saying, yeah, he's like, I don't really believe in God anymore. So I thought that was kind of a bummer, personally.
Luckily, he does believe in one God, and maybe got a little bit of a response from him.
Yeah, he's a firm believer of Null now. So.
Well, no,
no, he's talking about Thor.
I'm talking about Thor.
Oh, Thor.
Yeah.
Oh, Thor. Okay.
Yeah, remember, he's like, what are you doing all the way up here? What do you hope to do? Well, I'm gonna call to the one God who's going to listen to me, the one God who beat you guys in the past, Thor.
Thor. Yeah. So, not only fire and sonic sounds are weakness, but apparently lightning now as well.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't, I would say that's more of a weakness for at least the Grendel symbiote more so than, symbiotes in general, but splitting hairs at this point.
Speaking of Grendel symbiote, I'm glad that Donnie clarified it for people who still didn't fully believe, but yeah, this is the Grendel symbiote. With the Dylan scene, we got him saying it's not actually the Carnage symbiote. Which I'm like I said, I'm glad we have that clarification, because a lot of people continue saying, "Wait, is this the Carnage symbiote?" No, it's not. So
and also too, yeah, because Dylan also has the other piece with him as well, which I think that was also clarified.
Yeah, because that's what he was saying. That's the Grendel symbiote, not Carnage. But that actually, I wanted to talk about that, because how do you feel that this meshed with the Good Son issue?
I feel like I can ignore the Good Son issue.
It does feel like that, right? Like
Yeah.
it's been like all the the symbiote surviving and stuff was set up in the one of the previous issues of Venom, and then we had the Goodson issue, which sort of shows it tried to go more in depth into that, but then it sort of went in a different direction compared to this issue. So it was kind of like,
So it
especially
kind of
with
felt more
Null
filler.
with like Null being teased with the Goodson issue, it was like he's almost taking control of Dylan. But in this issue, it was like Dylan's like fully aware. He's like, I want to talk to Null. Like I want to know more about him. And it's like I feel like he should know more, given that Null's controlling him. But you know,
Yeah.
so it's definitely a little messy.
It is. Yeah, it's definitely a little messy. So far, I would say I prefer what Donnie is doing, handling Dylan in this particular situation versus I don't know who wrote the Good Son issue, but I didn't like the way they handled Dylan and all that because I think they really screwed with his character in the Good Son. I didn't really care for it.
Yeah, I have a lot of mixed feelings as well. So about the Goodson issue, like I wouldn't call it bad, but it was just kind of odd some of the choices they made. So
yeah.
Yeah, for me, like again, it just felt more filler. Yeah, at the same time gave us more context, but it just completely did a 180 on Dylan's character for me as well.
So we'll see, where that part of the story's going because we have 2 more issues of Venom Island to go.
yeah. And
Yep.
speaking of issues to come, I know Aaron had one theory going off what happened in the end there. He thinks, and I'm totally on board for this. He thinks the end isn't real, that the nuke didn't happen, and it's just based on the cover for next issue, and what it's homaging. It's the fact that these symbiotes are now fighting over Eddie, and they're causing him to have like a dream sequence. Like, what do you guys think of that? Do you think that any credit to that theory?
It wouldn't surprise me if that's what they're gonna do because the same thing happened more or less with Peter, with the blacks, when he had the black suit at the time. But for me, it was kind of a bummer that if it is real, it is kind of a bummer that the island was blown up. So, and if Eddie never lost his hand, then it'd be like, oh, so it was a dream after this whole time. But we don't know for sure, but it is something to keep an eye out for.
Yeah, I feel like it could either be that theory that Aaron brought up, or it could be that yes, the island was actually blown up and Eddie's actually with Cap, but both the Carnage and the Venom symbiote are actually inhabiting Eddie's body, so they escaped. But
I mean, yeah, we'll definitely see.
Yeah, but either way, we'll see what happens when this entire storyline's over. But I don't know. This as this I don't know. It feels like to me that we're going to be talking about Scream next, and I feel like Scream right now is the better symbiote comic.
Yeah, I'm gonna totally agree with that. Like I'm liking Venom. Like I'd give this an issue a 4 out of 5. I really enjoyed this issue, but it is just the fact that there's Scream is just so good. Like I'll be honest, Scream is just so incredible.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
yeah.
But like I said,
also
Mark Bagley's art's still gorgeous. Donnie's writing, I still do enjoy it.
Also, I wanted to bring up something that LT Carnage just brought up to our attention. So apparently, we might find out more context because on Twitter, I believe Donnie responded to a fan, "Oh, where do symbiotes go to heaven?" And he says, make sure you read next issue." So maybe something will be playing into that.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think it's the next issue. I think he just said like keep reading.
Yeah, just keep reading.
Okay.
So
the symbiote afterlife will probably be dealt with, and that's we're theorizing that's going to tie in with Wraith and the Exilons. That perhaps the Exilons might be what the symbiotes become when they die.
All right. Yeah.
any other thoughts about the issue before we move on? I guess.
It was okay. You know, I just want to see how this all is going to come to an end and see how it turns out. So yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, the real highlight of this particular arc in this issue, of course, is just the Bagley art because I love Bagley classic and modern, so this is a real treat. But otherwise, yeah, the story it's fine, I guess. It's chugging along. I am getting just a little bit tired of the cliffhangers for every single issue. Like, oh my god, this is a huge moment, and then last issue was Eddie cutting off his hand, and it's kind of you know glossed over a little bit at the beginning of this. It's just like, oh, his hand's gone, and oh, well, we're just
Oh
moving on.
no.
Yeah.
Is he gonna die? Is he gonna survive? Tune in
I'll have
next
a comment
month.
to say about that for Scream because that is one of my few complaints about that issue. But we'll get into that.
Yeah, so let's finally get to Scream Curse of Carnage number 4. So picking up from where we left off in the last issue, Andy has been forcefully separated from the symbiote by Big Mother during their underwater battle. As she slowly drowns, she's visited by twisted visions of her dead parents and Flash Thompson before the Scream symbiote manages to save her. Their daring escape from the deep is foiled when Big Mother drags them under once again to recount the truth behind the Beowulf legend. They're separated once more, and when they are, Andy again makes a break for the surface, but then we're also left with this big cliffhanger of Big Mother just swallowing her whole. So, again, another big, shocking cliffhanger, and that's going to be resolved in the next issue.
Hashtag delicious.
Yeah, but...
Well, first, I thought we'd start this off with a Flash Thompson alert. Beep, 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 beep.
In your face, Aaron.
Even if he is just a melting vision from a near-death experience.
Well, yeah, like I said, I really like this Scream series. I like what the team is doing, and it's my current favorite symbiote comic on the shelves.
I'll say it's my current favorite comic on the shelves, period. Like,
yeah, I could probably say that too. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been really enjoying the Scream series as of late. You know, it was a long time, you know, for Andy to get her own book, but we're here now. So, and it's really
fantastic.
nice.
Like,
yep.
I think one of the things that makes it so strong, and this issue does it also very well, that all the other issues have done as well, but just the relationship and dynamic this establishes between Andy and the symbiote. They're both their own characters, and they both show why they need each other so much. And
yeah,
like there's that one dialogue specifically. It's saying how the symbiote's like, I was like, you had so much anger that made you such a potent host, but then I realized like your love is more powerful than your hate, and I love it. I love it.
Yeah, because in this issue, it really kind of solidifies that Scream is really the only thing that Andy has left for a family.
Mm-hmm.
And
each other has got left.
And each other, and it's really powerful, right? Because they need each other more than anything, and they're trying to figure out this mystery with the Big Mother and trying to see if they can take her down in some way or how they're going to survive this encounter with her, and it's just very intriguing. It's just a very awesome read. So for those of you, again, pick this series up, please. It really deserves a read. Like, you have to go buy it.
Yeah, and I think you both touched on something that I think is what makes Scream excel currently for me over the Venom book, and that's the whole thing of Scream and Andy are in symbiosis. This is a true symbiosis. They have actual needs for one another. They're both fleshed out characters. Whereas with the Venom book, we mostly get, this focus on Eddie Brock, which, I like the focus on Eddie Brock because it's definitely something I've wanted all these years, but it doesn't feel like a Venom book to me, where it's Eddie and the symbiote working together.
I wouldn't go that far, but I will agree that he is separating them a lot.
Yeah.
But
there's a bit too much separation for a book about a composite character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I will say with Andy, there's one point she says like she finally sort of gives in. I don't want to say gives in to the symbiote, but she finally accepts like yeah, like cause she's been resisting the symbiote somewhat throughout the other issues, and it feels like she finally accepts it in this. She's like, yes, you're the only family I have left.
Yeah.
So hopefully we get a little bit less. I don't want to say just depressed Andy going forward. Hopefully we get a little bit more just comfortable with who she is at this point. But obviously there's still going to be a lot of depression considering it's called Curse of Carnage, and everyone she knows is dead, basically.
Yeah. So it's funny to me that these past two issues have kind of mirrored each other in action, basically. Where we have Scream go down into the deep, confront Big Mother, try to escape. Andy and Scream get separated, and then they get back together, and they're dragged back down into the deep. They get
Again.
In between some Thor flashbacks.
It's like, my goodness, it's like they just
And
keep
then-
dragging her down into the deep.
And then she's separated again for a second time. I'm like,
It's like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, did we just read this part?
yeah.
That was I'd say my one complaint I was talking about, where it ends almost the exact same way, except even worse. So it's
Yeah. Yeah.
like Andy basically dying underwater. Like that's how they both end. And so
I feel like I laugh at this situation more so than the ongoing with Donnie's just always separating the symbiote and Eddie constantly. I mean, I find this just in a microcosm hilarious.
but
Yeah. I mean, also too, the another good part of the book for me is when, I think when she was able to escape briefly, and she was in open air, she grew some wings finally.
yeah, no, I was gonna say I really like the symbiote shapeshifting that takes place in the book. We get not only we got like the mermaid form, then we have the wing form, and then even the crab form. I think it's really crab Andy.
Fish, yeah.
Scream is now a sea crab. Woo!
Yeah, I definitely like. I feel like who's the artist again?
There's Chris Mooneyham and it's Gary Brown.
Yeah, I feel like
I believe Mooneyham is doing Mooneyham's doing the Thor flashbacks currently, right? I know he did the first issue completely, and now he's doing the Thor flashbacks for now.
Yeah.
Well, Gary Brown takes over for the main story.
I feel like the artists are really definitely having a lot of fun playing with the shape-shifting aspects of the symbiotes, and that's what I really like about the symbiotes books is the weird and cool ways artists can really transform symbiotes.
And I will say, since I just mentioned the artists, I think overall I do prefer Mooneyham a little, just because there are some panels, like this is a minor nitpick. There are some panels I feel are a bit rough for Scream, like some of her teeth kind of look just like sloppily drawn on sometimes.
See, this is what I was trying to say. Like sometimes the art for like where Brown, like he does like some pretty good dynamic poses, but then some of the other panels it just feels like it's off and it doesn't look the best to me. Like sometimes you'll see like the claws are like slanted or like it's a little weird, right? So some parts of the issue is not my favorite that he's done so far. Like it's not my personal favorite.
Yeah, there's like one when she first like bonds to Scream again after almost drowning. She goes like, "We are Scream" or whatever, and then the teeth are like pointed downwards for some reason, like, and it's just like this, like the bottom teeth. Yeah. It's kind of an odd look. So it's just some stuff like that. It's a little rough for Gary Brown, but I'm still loving it. Like just I feel like Gary Brown specializes in the horror aspects of the book, like with the melting bodies and all that, and those look fantastic. So plus Big Mother. I mean, I love Big Mother.
Yeah. I wonder why, Tyler.
Where's the big dragon?
Boy!
Yeah, no, I definitely like I keep saying it with each issue, horror and symbiotes just work so well
They
together.
very much do.
Yeah. So this is really, this book is pumping on all cylinders, I feel, and definitely deserves more readership. And really looking forward to, the end of this arc and then what's coming in the next arc. And I'm just so glad that there's going to be a next arc.
Oh, absolutely. Like, I really want this to last a while. Hopefully, it can maintain like at least a 20 above 20,000 readership. Then it'll be good.
Again, people, for those that are listening, please support Scream. We need more arcs, please.
Yeah. And also for the, I'm not sure to see where the Thor arc is going, because it seems to be leading up to a confrontation between him and Big Mother in the past. So how she ended up maybe under the water, just sitting there waiting for thousands of years.
Yeah. And I really like that too,
the Beowulf stuff going on.
Yeah, definitely. I like the integration of the classic Beowulf text and kind of marvelizing it. I like that.
And Scream saying like that's not exactly how the story went. Like there was no Beowulf, it was Thor.
Yeah. And,
but no, the art
mother's
those
not really mother.
yeah. No. But the art there is so good. I love Thor just standing like in the waterfall and all that. That looks so gorgeous.
and wasn't it, there was also there was an Easter egg / mention of Big Mother's first appearance. I think it was in a Captain Marvel comic.
Yes, there was a little asterisk about.
Yeah.
It was. So it was how she said. She's like, once I woke up and in time came into my senses. So I guess that whole wrestling thing still did happen, but she was like came to her senses after that. She's like, wait, no, that's dumb.
Yeah.
Back in Captain Marvel number 20 in 2001.
Yeah, I did see a tweet about that, about her seeing her first appearance, and I'm like, wait, what? So, it's necessary for the retcon.
Yeah. I don't think her just becoming a wrestler would have made much sense in the current timeline. So.
Yep.
Yeah, but otherwise, definitely great issue. Really looking forward every single month to the next issue, and I really wish this was like the Amazing Spider-Man comic, where it's like every other week it come out.
Bi-weekly, probably.
Yeah, that would be
that'd
be great.
I miss bi-weekly.
Yep. Any last thoughts on that?
No, I think
it's a great issue. I want more. I want more Venom comics, and just go out and buy it. Go out, buy more Scream, people, please.
McLeod Chapman, just thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Good comic.
Yep, love it. All right, well, before we wrap up, I just want to make a quick note here that we haven't really covered too much about the Venom 2 filming. Last week I had the opportunity, because they were filming in San Francisco and I live pretty local, about an hour away. I had the chance to drive up to San Francisco twice to see two separate filming locations. And it was a pretty cool experience. I definitely thank Seek Donnelly from the Venom vlog. He tipped me off to the first location, and I met up with him and had a great time chatting about podcasting, Venom, and all of that. So thanks a lot again, Seek. It definitely couldn't have done it without you. I got a pretty cool selfie with Donnie Cates. I got to learn about what was going on the set. And then on the Saturday, I got to see a lot more of what they were filming versus the first time I went up. I didn't get to really see anything, and it was definitely a treat. And I that time I had gotten a photo with Andy Serkis, the director. And
I'm incredibly jealous of that. Andy Serkis is one of my favorite actors.
You're lucky.
Yeah. Yeah, he's definitely a really cool guy. I'd almost say grandfatherly. He's super nice and everything. And, of course I said I liked you as Gollum because, Lord of the Rings is one of my favorite
Big
movies
bruh.
of all time. Otherwise, though, it was a really cool thing. And we definitely went over all the spoilers and stuff that we were theorizing. And it was very interesting to note that the two scenes that I was party to, or, I was in the vicinity of, both of them, very interestingly, involved Eddie separated from the Venom symbiote, and the Venom symbiote acting seemingly on its own.
Just like Space Knight.
So very interesting. Either we're going to see more of Venom separated from Eddie, or maybe more She-Venom, as Tyler would want.
Fingers crossed.
Very, very curious. Very curious indeed.
Curious. So,
and also, I was going to point out too, since Aaron wasn't able to join us for this podcast episode, he was able to find the red tropical shirt that Woody Harrelson was wearing as Cletus Cassidy.
Yeah, so definitely follow Aaron if you want to get your hands on the shirt for cosplaying purposes. He has the down low on that, so that was fun. All right, well, otherwise we'll wrap up today's episode. Join us next month for a review of March Symbiote Comics offerings. You can listen to We Are Venomaniacs on Podbean, Spotify, Apple Music and iTunes, Google Play Music, and YouTube. We can also be found on Twitter at WAV_podcast. Check out our Discord server and become a member of the audience during the next live recording of We Are Venomaniacs. Join us, won't you? As always, thanks to my fellow co-hosts, Tyler and birthday boy Carlos, who is turning
Happy
30.
birthday, Mr. Carlos.
Oh, thank you guys. Thank you very much. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. Welcome to the third decade club. I
Yeah.
just recently turned 30 myself.
I'm getting old. I'm getting old.
Suck.
Thank you.
And thanks to the Venom site for permitting us to make this podcast under the TVS banner and all of your generous support. And finally, thank you, loyal listeners and fellow Venomaniacs. You guys make an awesome community, and it's an honor to be your voice on the airwaves. Together, we are Venomaniacs. And now, a word from one of our partners at The Collective, a network of superhero podcasts.
Hi, I'm one of the High Priests of Khonshu Ray, and I have the sacred privilege of providing you, the loony listener, with a podcast honouring Marvel's very own Moon Knight. Want to learn more about the Fist of Khonshu in comics? You got it. We review all current and classic runs from Mensch to Houston to Lemire. Want to know where else to find the Avatar of Vengeance? Glad you asked. We also review action figures, video games, animation, TV, anything and anywhere Moon Knight is featured, we've got it covered. All this along with any latest news which may feature our White Knight week in or week out. So join me and a host of others at Into the Night, a Moon Knight podcast. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, or support the show by becoming a Patreon member. Into the Night, a Moon Knight podcast. It's time to get your Khonshu on.